Hi, and welcome to Node Enterprise Conversations. Today we are here with myself. I'm Tracy Hines, Education Community Manager at the Node Foundation, along with Michael Rogers, our Community Manager.
Heyo.
And our special guest for today from Intel is Monica.
Hello, everybody. Hello from Oregon. I am Monica Ene-Pietrosanu. I am a software engineering director with Intel's Software and Services Group.
Great. Thank you, Monica. Yeah, so Monica's joining us today from Intel, and she's been a part of the group since 2011. Monica is currently the engineering director with the Software Services Group at Intel, leading a team of highly skilled performance engineers and compiler experts in optimizing runtimes for the most popular scripting languages used in data center and cloud workloads. And that can include Python, Node, PHP, and HHVM. Prior to this, Monica led a worldwide software engineering team in Intel's data center group, delivering a firmware to cloud software management stack for rack scale APIs aligned to evolving data center manageability standards. Thanks for joining us today, Monica.
Thank you very much for inviting me. This is an exciting opportunity to talk about our work here at Intel and what we are doing for Node and what we are doing around the other data center related scripting languages and optimizations.
Excellent.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Monica, jumping right into this, what groups are you overseeing at Intel? And tell us a little more about those teams.
Sure. I am leading in the services, software and services group. I'm leading a team of performance and compiler experts. We are, you can say that we are top tier scripting languages under the hood. And by this, I mean what you already said, Tracy, Python, Node.js, PHP, runtime optimizations focused. So that's why most of my people have a deep expertise in compiler optimizations as well as in performance. And our focus is exclusively on data center use cases. So that's where we work closely with the data center group, which is a large business group, and ensure that we are connected with the customers using these languages and that we are optimizing these languages for the specific usages that these large data center customers have. So I have, let me just say a bit more about my team, because I'm so proud of them. They are fantastic. So I have several people with PhDs in performance and compiler optimizations. Have two teams, one in Oregon and one in Santa Clara. And our focus has been in ramping up this effort. The team is relatively new. Intel's involvement into this is longer, but our team is about 2 years old. And coming together, aligning along this needs that the market has in terms of adopting the newest and greatest Intel optimizations through these scripting languages is quite of an adventure. Now, myself, I've been a C, C++ developer back in time, a long time ago. But I think it's fantastic how the development world has shifted the center of gravity to these high-level languages, these runtime languages. We're seeing, of course, increased productivity, accelerated time to market. You can develop your application in a matter of hours and days. You don't have to spend months and years. These are major advantages. So I think we cannot ignore where the market is going. And my team's job at Intel is to make sure that we enable this to run best on our architecture and that we bring all the goodness of Intel platforms to the market. At the same time, I want to note, and maybe I should let you ask me, but I want to make it clear that Intel has been invested in the open source world for a long time. This is not new. Our contributions there have been well known in the industry. So the depth of the software contributions in open source across the software stack, coupled with the tools and solutions we offered, have been out there for years. And also the involvement into the open source communities that we are part of. So there are several angles where we are trying to bring a positive contribution to the market.
Yeah, I've definitely seen, Intel be a big part of open source for years and years and years now. But specifically with Node.js, you mentioned that your team is a bit newer, that you're ramping up at least a lot more right now. But you also mentioned that Intel had been involved in Node for quite a while. Could you tell us a little bit more about how long Intel has been investing in Node.js and how long you've been building up this new performance effort?
Yeah, so I think while the Node.js specific effort is slightly newer, it's about 2 years, 2 years and a half. We've been contributing to like runtime optimizations for V8 for more than 8 years. We also have work going on in libuv in different components of Node.js. So it depends on how you look at it. It can be newer or more established. Does this answer your question, Mike?
Yes. No, it does. I'm just thinking about the best way to follow through. I mean, you mentioned that the landscape has really changed and that, you have a background, like I also have a background in lower level languages, but appreciate now writing in high level languages and how much more that does for me. And I certainly appreciate
so comfortable.
Yes. I certainly appreciate the work that y'all have been doing, making that faster. But, how big has that shift been? I mean, is it complete? I mean, are you still optimizing for both low level and high level languages at about the same rate, or is there really a focus now on high level languages and a lot of the low level stuff is actually just being done by people who write VMs or people who write compilers?
Well, I think it's both, right? We cannot ignore there is still a significant part of the market in native code, and especially when it comes to performance, when it comes to some of the new machine learning, deep learning algorithms, we're seeing scripting languages being the glue, especially like Python. 20% of the work happening in Python, 80% of the work happening in native. So we cannot totally shift. So this work is actually happening as an emerging effort. And it's tackling performance from several angles. So, for example, historically, we've had great measures of performance for everything that was written in native. There wasn't much, and you guys know, performance is central to Intel's DNA. But there wasn't much in terms of representative workloads or benchmarks that was showcasing how this scripting languages are used in the cloud, especially for Node.js. We didn't have much to measure out there. So one approach we took was to develop a new customer representative workload that we can use, and we open sourced that at the last year Node Interactive conference in terms of, hey, let's try to come together. Is this representative of what most of the companies' workloads are in Node.js, and get the industry's input into it. Another effort that's going on, we had tools to analyze performance for a long time. We had this vTune and several other tools support. They were not enabled for Node.js. So we worked with those specific teams to make sure that we enable all the tools for Node.js, for Python, and so on. So these are some steps we took into actually growing together with the market in this space.
Awesome. Well, so Monica, following up with that, where in the stack is Intel using Node, and what properties is the company, what in the company is powered by Node?
Well, the Intel is a technology company, right? So we are looking at Node being used all across, like full level. We are working at various levels that impact Node.js. So, for example, we are doing work that's extending hardware capabilities into software. And think about some new instructions that come into the processor. You would want to take advantage of those in Node.js applications. So my team is doing work in enabling this vector, SIMD type of instructions into Node. Another example is we have a new memory that's coming out, and that's actually going to be a radical change in the computing models. There will be a very fast memory for a very large capacity that is accessible to your application. That means Node.js applications should be able to take advantage of that. So extending such hardware capabilities are indirectly, let's say, enabling Node. another area, and I just mentioned that our contributions kind of go all across in V8, in libuv, in Node Core as well. So another area is integrating Intel optimized libraries. We had a set of native libraries that are optimized for Intel. We're working to take advantage of those as well. So it's kind of all over. And what is more important from my perspective is to make this useful to data center customers. We are seeing a lot of Java workloads out there, especially when it comes to big data. But we are also seeing Node on the web front end taking a more and more important role, and also peeling into the back end. So it's kind of interesting how most of the workloads we are looking at are Node.js on the front end, Java on the back end, but more and more Node.js. So our team is focusing a lot on talking to customers and understanding some of their performance challenges that they are seeing in developing their applications, and how can we optimize across.
So you mentioned that you're doing a bunch of different languages, and you've given some insight into why you've picked Node. Could you give us an idea of, what the prioritization is of Node and why it might be a little bit more interesting for your team than some of the other languages out there?
Yes, absolutely. I think Node.js has, you guys know better than me, has doubled constantly in the past years, whether it's by numbers or by JavaScript contributions or by any other metrics like rank in the repository based on how many users are reviewing the code and so on. So we are seeing a huge growth in Node, and we cannot ignore that. Why would we? There are more than 11 million developers writing code in JavaScript, and Node is getting more downloads than Java, PHP, .NET, Ruby, over 1.6 million downloads. So a lot of enterprise applications and data integration is happening in Node these days. So for us, it makes perfect sense to focus on Node. And while this is kind of the new kid on the block in a way, it's the newest language that we've been focusing on. And we started, as I said, about 2 years ago. It's I think, in my team, is the fastest growing one.
Now, Monica, when you're talking about how Node enables enterprise especially, how has Node impacted your business teams?
Well, Node is constantly evolving, and we are looking at various aspects of it from the business perspective. For example, we want to make sure that we contribute to the Node community from all we can from the performance stewardship perspective. So in terms of, let me try to kind of focus on the question in terms of the business impact. I'm seeing this driving more and more sales. Many of our enterprise customers are using Node in their workloads. So that's why it's important for us to give them the best experience on IA. I'm also seeing quite of a challenge from the security side, especially as there is so much code that's not yours that you pull into your application. So I think there is an impact, but there is a conservative impact that we are seeing because of some of the challenges, and I think they are kind of equal to the opportunities that are being seen out there. So one other thing is, in terms of the business, I think business goes well when the environment goes well as well. So a priority for us is to be a valuable contributor to the open source community for Node.js. So it's not just let's make sure we submit up there the Intel specific optimizations. No, it's actually making sure that we contribute equally in making Node better and better, kind of evolving all the components of Node, and also provide to the open source communities tools and information that helps making Node better. One example is this languages performance portal, which I think we will provide the link for, is languagesperformance.intel.com. where we are doing nightly builds of Node.js sources, and we are running popular benchmarks and publishing results towards the open source community. And then if there is a regression, we commit to jumping on it and root causing, and then working with the community on getting it fixed. One example is a 20% regression we've seen a while ago with buffer index off, which we reported and we are addressing. So we're trying to bring our contribution to the community from all these angles.
That's like a really important aspect of open source, is just how much better things get the more that we can contribute together. I think a big aspect too of the success of that kind of model is what we see in security and how much better we can improve security like as a community. I know that you have like quite a bit of security background. Is there anything security related that you've worked on at Intel that's like been a benefit to the Node.js community?
Well, I think our work has been so much so far connected to the ecosystem players who are trying to raise the security of Node.js overall. We are having discussions on all the security proposals that are going around. So first, my let's say paranoia went to a maximum when I heard like, oh my God, there is so much code that you pull into your application. Only 2% of the code is yours, and then you don't have a way to check whether that's a malicious code or not. I think that it's getting better. There is a great development in this area. I think Intel is also looking at helping, and we have some processor capabilities that will help checking on memory usages and so on, that we will be looking into in the long run. However, it's gonna take we need to come together. It's not something that only Intel can do. I think it's an industry effort, and we are definitely trying to be connected to all the efforts going on around us in terms of coming up with a broader initiative that will make Node more secure.
You know, Node Foundation and the Node community in general has been really fortunate to benefit from Intel contributing so much of their time to our project. And that includes, you know, code, but it also includes things like helping us out with our diversity and inclusivity challenges. And I know that, Monica, I believe that's how we met last year at Node Interactive,
Yeah.
was with Intel helping us out with the diversity coffee chat. And it was really meaningful, I think, and so meaningful that we ended up having to schedule more time later in the conference to continue the discussions. Can you share a little more about the work Intel's been doing over the years to improve diversity in our sector?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very passionate about that. And yes, thank you for mentioning. Intel is a board member in Node.js Foundation, and is playing, carrying its weight there, and trying to contribute, because I think growing a project involves growing it technically and also growing its community in a healthy way. So that's super important, especially with a young and so fast growing community like Node.js. Now, coming to diversity, Intel actually has set a bold goal to achieve full representation of women and underrepresented minorities in the US at Intel by 2020. You have read about this. There is a lot of press around, and it's also put a lot of money to invest in this. So diversity is foundational for our business success. And I personally am very proud about this, because I'm passionate about diversity. I'm passionate about running diverse teams in all the companies I've worked with. I made this a priority. And that's why I also wanted to be able to contribute into the Node.js community to the little extent that we can bring there. I think you guys are doing already a great job, but we are glad to continue to partner. Now, in terms of what's Intel doing more specifically is, well, there are many things when it comes to diversity. So there is a saying that I think I was actually, I'm quoting someone, is diversity means being in the room. Inclusion means being invited to dance. And well, actually, a real diverse team is like when everybody sings all the songs. So it's like not just numbers. So we are doing multiple things in terms of training the managers, in terms of making sure that the people we hire are being hired from a diverse pool. We make sure that there is pay parity, but we also want to make sure that the ecosystem partners we work with and the projects we are involved with are benefiting from this and are diverse communities. You cannot just, do your own project in a vacuum. All the ecosystem matters. So from this perspective, like we're having internal, we call them ladies meetups. So I'm having several groups of women kind of meeting at the, and this is happening at every level. Like VPs have their own community there. We create communities at each level to connect women. More than this, women internally from Intel are reaching out and being part of community efforts like outreachy. I think Node.js Foundation is also part of this outreachy project where we attract and encourage students diverse students to be part of open source projects. So we are taking a role in that by having mentors and contributing to such projects. We're kind of trying to make sure that internally diverse employees feel supported and connected, and also externally we support these efforts. And I could talk for a day about this. You guys have to stop me. So
yeah, no, I love, it's such a great story to get to hear how companies are evolving and learning really genuine ways to improve an environment for everyone. And I totally agree that no one can do it in a vacuum, right? Because we all have to be supporting one another as foundations and as organizations to be able to really see change, right? So that's, and hopefully we'll be able to talk even more about that this year. So will we see you again at Node Interactive?
Yes, absolutely. We are looking forward to Node Interactive. We also submitted some papers. We have one accepted. We are very proud of that. And it's actually one of our technical women who got it accepted there. And we're very proud of her. We are also looking to see how we can get engaged into the other activities happening at Node Interactive. And yes, looking forward to it. We hope to have great things to share.
Yeah. Well, this has unfortunately never been enough time for all of the knowledge that you have to be able to share with us. But thank you for distilling that down for us today, Monica. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Great talking to you.
Oh, thank you. It's been fantastic.
Thank you.
All right.